All right, welcome back, guys. So I'm going to be starting a beginner's course on trading. So the first thing that we're going to get started with is fair value gaps. So an area of price where price is unbalanced and inefficient. Price needs to come back to this area to balance it and continue to go higher or lower. Right? Let me just add or lower or lower. All right. So this is basically what it is. So you'll have it's a three pattern candle. So one, two, and three. And basically the fair value gap itself is happening from the top of the first candle's high to the bottom of the third candle's low. So since there's space in between these two candles, the price is inefficient here. Too many buyers were present here and it was inefficient for the sellers. So the sellers need to come back into here to continue to go higher. So if you were to mark this out, it'd go from the bottom of this wick to the top of this wick, sorry, to the bottom of this wick. So this is now your fair value gap. So fair value gap, right? And this is fractal. This can be on all time frames. But now what price is going to do is it's going to come back down, touch this, and it's going to continue to go higher, right? Now, for our bearish example, it's the same thing, but we're heading down now. So what we'll have is the bottom of the first candle's wick. This second candle passed through it, and then there's a space between this candle's wick and this candle's high wick. So we'll go from here to here. So this is now our fair value gap, our bearish fair value gap. So what price is going to do now is it's going to trade back up into this fair value gap and continue to go lower, right? That's basically how fair value gaps work, right? So now let's get into some live examples. So I'll go on the 4-hour chart. I'll find some clear ones. So we're clearly trending upwards from here, right? So let's see. We have this fair value gap right here. Price did not come back into it. However, we have another fair value gap. What did price do? Do we see how price created this fair value gap? So price is inefficient here. In order for price to keep going higher, price needs to come back down, touch this, right? And then it's going to continue to go higher. And that's what it did here. Fair value gap, came back down, went higher. Now what else can we see? It's the same scenario. Fair value gap here, right? And fair value gap here. Now what common scenario are we seeing? This more below fair value gap is not getting touched in an uptrend because price doesn't need to retest that much to rebalance it, as long as it rebalances a certain range. So it's rebalancing the first one. Notice how the bodies are closing above the fair value gap. They're not closing inside, they're not closing below. So price is respecting this fair value gap and we're going to go higher, right? So that's another one. We have another one right here. However, price did not touch this one and continue to go higher. However, what do we have here? We have another one. Price touched this one and we continue to go higher. Now, that's basically how those fair value gaps work. Bullish fair value gaps. These are all bullish fair value gaps. For bearish fair value gaps, right? We have one here, didn't get touched. We have one here, didn't get touched. But we have one also here. Why? Because this candle's low to this candle's high. Inside of this area is the fair value gap. Bam, price touched it and went down. Also, right here to here, we have another bearish fair value gap. Notice how the bodies are closing inside and not outside of it. So we're respecting this fair value gap. We touched it here once. We came back down. Then we touched it again, sweeping this liquidity here. We'll talk about liquidity in the next video. And then it continues to go down. Then we have this fair value gap. And price begins to go down, right? And I know that I'm just choosing fair value gaps right now, but we'll just go into how everything ties together, because clearly here you can see how this fair value gap gets disrespected. Well, there has to be context around why fair value gaps work or they don't work, right? Without context, fair value gaps will not work. They will never work. Context is extremely important. So that's part one of how to identify fair value gaps and how to use them. It will go obviously into more detail. Just keep watching this course.